I'm Sal.
And I'm Sam. And today we will be making a Neapolitan rustic torte and some puff fritters, which is probably one of the many foods they would have eaten at the Capulet party in Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare.
The Neapolitan rustic torte is just a big cake of pizza, and we're gonna turn it into our own type of style where we're just gonna make little balls of bread of the same thing. The ingredients are some mozzarella, some ricotta cheese, Parmesan, provolone cheese, some eggs, 2 sticks of butter, some nutmeg, some ginger, cinnamon powder, and some salt and pepper.
For the filling for the Neapolitan rustic torte, we're just going to be crushing some ricotta cheese, some mozzarella, some provolone, and some Parmigiano Romano. And we'll be adding some parsley, nutmeg, and cinnamon, and eggs, and we're just going to mix that together. Right now, I'm grounding up some provolone to add into the mixture of mozzarella, ricotta, and Parmesan. And this is what the filling would look like after it's all mixed and chilled for about 10 minutes.
Alright, now for the torte itself, we're going to turn it into small balls of torte that can be stuffed instead of the traditional big bread cake type of look. Alright, now for the ricotta cheese that we used in the filling. It was made from goat's milk, and goats were prominent in places like northern Italy in the times of Romeo and Juliet.
Right now for the torte balls, we have the flour and salt, and we're going to be adding the yeast that was mixed with the hot water.
This is the final step in making the Neapolitan rustic torte balls. And spread it out to make the casing for it, like that. Now you take a little bit of filling, a little less than a tablespoon of filling, and put it inside.
A little bit more.
Just a little bit more, and then just encase the filling with dough, like so, to make just that little pastry sort of ball, and then close it together on the top and put it in the tray to bake it.
Alright, once they're all on the tray, we put them in the oven at 400 for about an hour. And just to recap, these would have been perfect to serve at the Capulet party in Verona, Italy. The second recipe that they would have had at the Capulet party would have been cream puff fritters, which consists of salt, sugar, butter, ground cinnamon, and you just roll those up into like a dough and fry them. They're basically just a sweet fried pastry. For the sfingi, which are puff fritters and classic Italian dish that they would have eaten back in the time of Romeo and Juliet, we will use butter, cinnamon, powdered sugar, salt, and some hot water to make the dough, which we will then fry and roll in the cinnamon and powdered sugar. It's basically an old-fashioned donut. We have some flour to make the dough and some eggs.
After melting butter in a pan with water, we're going to bring to a low boil, we're going to remove the top and stir flour into the mixture to make a sort of friable little dough.
This is what the paste for the dough should look like before we add the eggs. Now, we are mixing eggs into the mixture of dough, and we'll be stirring these by hand. Normally they would have used a wooden bowl back then.
Alright, this is what the dough should look like after the 12 eggs have been added and contributed and evenly stirred. And the real look to it comes when you take some of the dough and you plop it into the oil like this in sort of a ball type of shape and just drop it right in and let it fry up like that. And these are some. Now this is what the sfingy or cream puff fritters looks like before it is rolled in the cinnamon and the sugar.
As we said before, we are frying them in canola oil. In the 16th century, these would have been fried in lard, which was actually pig fat.
The final step to making the cream puff fritters, once they're out of the deep frying, you take them and you roll them in cinnamon and sugar, and we used 1.5 cups of granulated sugar and 3 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, and we mix that together in here, and we just pour it into this bowl with the sfinge, which is just the Italian way of saying it. We just pour it in and just shake it up.
Normally these would have been glazed in honey and piled high to be like a tree form, but they did not have sugar back then because sugar cane would have been on the other side of the road and honey was available to them. And next month it's going to be St. Joseph's Day, and that is actually the official pastry for that day, and it's served with a sweet cheese and cannoli cream.
And this is what the sfinge is going to look like when it's coated in the bowl with the cinnamon sugar mixture. And in Italy, it is still served today at feasts and celebrations.